I'm HD from the D Show, 91.5 FM WPRK, live in Orlando, the heart of Orlando, for the last 3 years, but I've been fighting this tyranny much longer than that. Also involved in FIJA, Campaign for Liberty, and the We Are Change, but right now I'm reporting for Infowars.com. Also been on the 810 AM radio station in Orlando with host of Free Radical Radio, John Kurtz, who was featured on Alex Jones's Infowars website here for Cop Watch activist found not guilty. John Kurtz right here. I believe Alex Jones was also on John Kurtz's radio show, Free Radical Radio. This article goes into what was dealing here in Orlando, what was happening with Cop Watch. So many things to talk about. I went down a list of articles that I had written for freeradicalorlando.com for that radio show as well. And I go into exposing, we talked about the solar flares, and we talked about NASA and how that relates to never being able to trust NASA. The 50 top NASA scientists and astronauts come out against man-made climate change, against NASA just spitting this propaganda and this total farce that is global warming, or what they now call climate change. We talked about the distractions of all the soldiers. These are just isolated incidents. 17 individuals by U.S. soldier murdered. Marines on video urinated on dead Taliban. Soldiers who burnt Qurans at a U.S. base in Afghanistan. Soldiers in Afghanistan posing with mangled body parts. Abu Ghraib, Guantanamo Bay. This happens all the time, and it's covered up because of prostitution scandals with the Secret Service in Colombia. The General Service Administration spending all this money, or the Defense Secretary Leon Panetta's trips to his home in California. But money doesn't matter anyway, because the IRS is making sure that everything is digital now, no longer issuing paper checks, automatic deposits instead. The system of control continues to expand. The girl who was forced to comply with FDA or state standards by eating chicken nuggets, because the lunch that her mother packed, consisting of a turkey sandwich, was unhealthy according to the FDA. The FDA thugs that did this to her. Words have been banned from New York schools. This is like 1984. Every day is a new page of the book 1984. A 6-year-old was arrested for throwing a tantrum in class. Another girl was arrested for writing on her desk. When Obama first came into office, he was all about the green movement, right? So he wanted to instill in cars the monitoring system that allowed them to be tracked. So how many miles you drove. So if you drove over a certain amount of miles, they could come after you and say you have to pay taxes on those additional miles. If you don't want to take the car, you don't want to take a plane because you don't like the TSA, you want to go and just drive everywhere. But the TSA is on the interstate now, taking blood samples in some cases. And if you don't want to take your car and you want to take the bus, here we go again. Infowars.com. Big Sis launches undercover TSA spies to ride Houston buses. And I know the Houston residents are all up in arms about this. I also have a website here with all of these articles, all the radio shows, and all of the articles up as well at the D Show website here in Orlando. And also on Free Radical Orlando website, where we also write an article for that show. Who's afraid of the big bad truth? The true squads like the Stasi coming out, infiltrating citizen groups. Seattle PD insists drones won't spy on residents, but Obama said he won't sign the NDAA. Look, he opposes CISPA. We have drones. We have the NDAA. And we have CISPA passed by the House and being ready to be passed by the President. Just like the Federal Reserve Act, the bankers opposed it. People said, okay, it's cool. They passed it. But they passed it like they did the income tax, the 16th Amendment, never officially ratified. Not enough states even voted on it. CISPA amendment allows Homeland Security to monitor the communications of federal courts and Congress and intercept tax returns sent to the IRS. The IRS can also, if you have back taxes, or even if they say you have back taxes and they make the mistake, they can take your passport away. They can take your permit to your gun away. Every single amendment right down the line being erased. Homeland Security buys enough ammo for a 7-year war against the American people. Here it is. People need to wake up. 450 million rounds of 40 caliber hollow point ammo. Marketplace Watch, or MarketWatch.com, naturalnews.com, the sources for this story. PrisonPlanet.com, Pentagon and Obama declare Congress ceremonial. Of course they declare Congress ceremonial. They don't need to go to Congress for approval to declare war. They'll just call it a military campaign or a military exercise, and they'll occupy a country for the next 50 years. After the NDAA and all of these other subsequent legislation, we have the Expatriation Act. Congress is considering H.R. 3166 and Senate Bill 1698, the Enemy Expatriation Act, giving the U.S. government the power to strip Americans of their citizenship without being convicted of being hostile against the United States. So the president can say you're an enemy combatant or a terrorist, and they can take you away and they can torture you secretly. There's nothing you can do about it. And the NDAA says that they're not American citizens that they're going to arrest. And they're right. They're not American citizens, because the second that you're declared an enemy combatant or a terrorist, you lose your citizenship. You lose your rights. And the one thing about Infowars and a couple of other sites I was able to scrounge up, impeach Obama, nobody would even dare touch this, because then they'd be racist. It'd be un-American. It'd be unpatriotic to talk about the truth. The only other website I even found was Politico, that just had a small statement, GOP lawyer drafts Obama impeachment. I'm HD. This is Infowars.com. I'm reporting for. I do the D show in Orlando, Florida. A place where lots of things are happening, where you cannot feed the homeless. You have to stand inside of a box at City Hall if you want to protest, or even if you want to speak your mind about something peacefully. So many things that are happening here. The TSA scanners, the naked body scanners, were rolled out somewhere near Orlando here at the airports, and then brought nationwide, and they're continuing to be brought nationwide. And it's one thing after another, stepping stone approach, one thing at a time, seemingly unconnected, so people don't see what's happening. Well, we see what's happening. Infowars see what's happening. Truth seekers all around the country see what's happening. And people better wake up, because it's already here. It's not coming anymore. It's already here. The New World Order, if that's what you want to call it, without getting wrapped up in a slogan, is here. TSA on buses, transportation authority at the airports, on roads, everywhere. Obama signing the NDAA, CISPA. Didn't want to act a PIPA or SOPA. People were so happy they protested against that. And we said on the D show they were just going to take it and they were going to stick it in fast-piece legislation, or fast-track legislation rather, and pass it, or just change the name. And they did. They changed the name, and then they added amendments to it. And it made it even worse. Anyway, I'm HD for Infowars.com. I'm going to play a segment of the D show here for the rest of this video. I thank you for listening. Back here on the D Show, 91.5 FM WPRK, the voice of Rollins College and the best in basement radio. Broadcasting from the basement here. Found out new information. No longer is this FEMA Region 4. Apparently, according to KBR, we are in FEMA Region 2 here in Florida, to North Carolina, Kentucky, over to Alabama and Mississippi. Some good music we had there. At the break, some of Dimitri's favorite music, Seasons of the Sun, Nirvana, I Will Follow the Sun by the Beatles, and portion of Lord of the Rings in Dreams song there before we came back from break. Talking about Iran, talking about Syria. I got some new stuff on Infowars looking at the United States government, and I guess allied governments as well as the United States government would be concerned that Iran, it says according to a recent article in The Economist, Iran happens to be good, very good at developing what is known as ultra-high performance concrete. With tensions increasing between the United States and Iran, concerns have begun to arise over Iran's smart concrete, which officials believe may be able to withstand U.S. bunker busters should military operations become a reality.